And joining us now, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thanks so much for joining us, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
As you know firsthand, leaders across the country are making difficult decisions about when and how to reopen. The governors of Virginia and Maryland are now moving toward establishing a date to reopen. But just yesterday, you said that you were not ready for that yet. When do you think the right time might be for D.C.? And are you all at all concerned that your colleagues in Maryland and Virginia may be acting too quickly?
Well, we've established early on that we were looking to the public health criteria that we know will keep our city safe, having sustained decreases in our level of infection, making sure our hospitals are ready for a surge, making sure that our businesses, when they open, can supply appropriate PPE and guidelines to keep people safe. And what we know, we're in the National Capital Region, and in both Maryland and Virginia, cases continue to rise. So what we have to be focused on as a region, as economies open up, that we can handle increasing levels of infection in our region.
And there were some models about a month ago that suggested that the surge may happen in D.C. around June. Is that still the timetable that you're looking at?
Actually, we think that we're going to experience our surge in cases in May, and that we will see a surge in hospitalizations to follow. We've been very focused on, and our residents have made a tremendous amount of sacrifice to put us in this position. Our early models actually had us having many more thousand cases than we have right now. But we still need to make sure that we're containing the spread of the virus. And we're very focused on people listening to their bodies, paying attention to their symptoms, and getting tested. And if they have a positive test, that they're isolating in their home, away from roommates, away from family, so they're not spreading the virus.
Of course, African Americans are being disproportionately affected by COVID-19, and D.C. is no exception. Blacks represent more than 2 times the cases of any other demographic. There, 79% of the 285 deaths in Washington, D.C. were African American. So what's being done specifically for African Americans right now, who are often on the front lines of essential workers?
Absolutely. We're very focused on making sure that people get tested. And we are also very focused on our vulnerable populations that also have other conditions that make them very susceptible to complications and death related to COVID-19. We're actually doing a very targeted outreach to people that we've identified in the city that fall into those categories. But looking forward, one of our Reopen DC advisory committees is focused on disparity, is focused on how we eliminate those disparities as we reopen and move forward. And we're looking forward to those recommendations. So when we reopen, we are locally, but also nationally committed to the building blocks of health that will prevent the African Americans being so disproportionately subject to this virus.
And Mayor, you also have the title of mother and have a nearly 2-year-old daughter. From a personal standpoint, how are you juggling your responsibilities as a mom with your responsibilities as mayor? Any advice for single parents out there who are also dealing with this difficult balancing act?
Well, thank you for asking. And my daughter will have her second birthday just in a couple of weeks. And I'm very blessed to have a great team of people. I have great support at home, great support at the office, and a delightful child who I actually get to spend every evening with now because there are no evening events. So we're managing. I'm no different than any other family trying to make it work. And I think that parents have been focused on homeschooling and also working from home while not having all of the great events and other things that kids like to do, like go to the playground. So how we get our kids back to normal is really one of my big focus areas. Certainly getting the economy moving is on the top of my list, but making sure that kids can get back to normal activities because when they get back back to normal activities, we're really back because parents can get back to work in the way that they're accustomed to working. And so putting our kids at the top of our list is what we're doing in D.C.
And lastly, in an interview with the New York Post this week, when asked about the prospect of D.C. becoming a state, President Trump said, quote, "Why? So we can have 2 more Democratic senators and 5 more congressmen? That'll never happen." What's your response to that?
Well, we're glad that the president made plain his argument against D.C. statehood is not about the Constitution. It's not about if D.C. can govern itself. It's about raw politics to him. And we've made that case, and we made it very forcefully in a recent hearing at the United States Congress. And we're going to continue to make it. This pandemic has shown a bright light on what it means not to have 2 senators for Washington, D.C. We're always treated like a state when it comes to federal funding. Our residents pay federal taxes, more than 22 states. We're larger than 2 states. And we pay more to the federal government than we get back. And so in this pandemic response, they actually shorted us $250 million by calling us a territory. So we know that we have to get that fixed. And the only reason we could be treated that way is because we don't have 2 senators speaking for us. And that's why D.C. statehood is so important. It is not prohibited by the Constitution. We have a bill in the Congress, and a simple majority vote in the Congress will make us the 51st state, just like has happened for every state outside of the original 13 colonies.
Mayor Bowser, thank you so much for your time. We'll let you get back to that little girl.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.